right now. Exhilarating weekend of college football championships to break down. Top prospects against top prospects across the board. New quarterbacks to get excited about. Bulls extension, latest mocks, and a college football playoff draft now. DNVR Draft Pod. That's right, baby. We're doing the thing, coming to you live from the Toyota Lounge on top of the DNVR bar in the beautiful Mile High City. Toyota, of course. We are driven by your Front Range Toyota stores. Toyota, the official vehicle of DNVR. My man.
What up?
Jake Schwanitz. The day before he goes to New York for the Heisman ceremony. Look at that. Look at that. Yeah, we're doing the thing.
We are.
How did you enjoy that championship week?
I thought it was great, honestly.
Really fantastic.
We definitely had worse championship weekends
no
in the past.
kidding. That was, I mean, the fact that the ACC SMU made that
Unbelievable
a
game.
real game. Even the games that weren't close, like the Big Ten, Penn State was in that throughout to where it was really interesting. And the Big 12, we had Cam Scadaboo's breakout.
Yep.
I mean, breakout.
He's been doing
Monster performance that kept us engaged in that one. Plus the Big 12, you know, it's been of interest to us. It's been a fun conference. So yeah, it was, and I was just looking over at Kate and I was like, man, primetime matchups in these games, just all day. Primetime matchup. She, of course, was like, huh? What'd you just say?
Yeah, I'm sure you had
could
her
not
just
have ignored me
captivated from
more.
the moment.
I know. I was watching some Gruden video. He was talking about his wife breaking down a double A gap blitz. And I was like, whoa, we got to work on that.
For real?
I did get a small sidebar and welcome all to the Toyota chat. Leave us a thumbs up. Mad love. Thanks you for tuning in.
Yes.
Did get from the 6-year-old, really wanted a gusher.
Mm-hmm.
And I was doing the whole no only after dinner thing.
Yeah.
But then the whining became too much, so I caved in, which is that's actually what they tell you is the best parenting of all. Like we reward the whining with exactly what they are whining about.
I'm taking
That's
notes,
how
bro.
you are winning. Yes.
I'm taking notes.
I did. The compromise was she had to give me a take on Bill Belichick going to North Carolina.
Yeah.
And did she think he'd be successful? And, you know, I explained Bill Belichick, the most winning, well, I mean, Super Bowl wise.
Yes.
Coach in NFL history. She said her take, my 6-year-old daughter, no, because he will find teenagers are really annoying.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Bill will not work out because teenagers are annoying, which I honestly thought was an astute take.
I mean, she's wise beyond her years for sure.
Yeah, I mean, he's a real grump. He's not going to put up with all this kid stuff.
You know who else was a grump, though?
Who?
Nick Saban.
Yeah, real curmudgeon.
And
real
those guys
curmudgeon.
are pretty tight.
I know Saban did retire because he kind of felt like this era of college football wasn't for him.
Plus, he's like having a ton of fun now.
Yeah, he is. Belichick seemed like he was having a ton of fun.
He's been having a lot of fun.
Yeah, and I've been back and forth on the Belichick thing.
I think it'll work. Yes.
Yeah, yesterday I was kind of arguing with Zach and Hank. Like, I don't know, there's not much of a track record, and like it all comes down to recruiting nowadays.
North Carolina has like 4 10-win seasons in the last 30 years.
Well,
telling me
that was my other thing.
Bring
Was
a
like
10-win season?
they've in the last 20 years they've only been good. Mac Brown before going to Texas. Mac Brown coming back before retirement.
Yeah.
The rest of the time, Tar Heels aren't great, but it's a great brand.
Mm-hmm.
Jordan Brand's attached to it.
Yep.
And he's attached NIL to his contract.
And they've had quarterbacks just coming in.
Right. And the ACC, it also made me think everyone's like, oh, Belichick made the right move. ACC winnable, could have a playoff spot. That's a great spot to be in for anyone, including,
Look at SMU.
I don't know, Coach Prime and the Big 12.
Well,
You know?
yeah.
Like, sometimes you are better off being big fish in a small pond.
Right.
Though it's power conference. I mean,
It is.
power conference.
Don't disrespect the ACC.
And
bro.
you know who we need to put a lot of respect on their name?
Who?
The old Pac-12.
Oh,
They won 2 power conferences. Truly the conference of champions. Truly the conference of champions.
Mm-hmm.
Put respect on their name.
Larry Scott should be in prison for life
He
for what
should.
happened to the Pac-12.
What have you done, Larry? You
Crazy.
destroyed a great product.
We had a good thing going. I actually enjoyed the Pac-12 for what it's worth.
It was a good time. And those seasons, the only seasons the Buff were like ranked,
Yeah.
so much parity. And we would say parity.
Right.
And everyone was like, nah, the Pac-12 is just mid.
Of course.
Well, back then, we didn't even talk like that.
Mm-hmm.
And no, turns out the Pac-12 was just loaded.
Yep.
Actually, the SEC, better than the SEC.
Yeah.
Craziness.
It's a generational fumble by Larry Scott,
Crazy.
by college football. Everyone involved
Crazy.
should take an L.
I think they are.
They are, yes.
We might unpack that one of these days. Really go through just the stupidity of it all.
Oh, that's an electric off-season draft pod.
Such stupidity. It really is. Boy, it's been the year of the running back, Big Jakester.
Mhm.
In the NFL, all the free agent signings, David
Yep.
Montgomery, Josh Jacobs, Derrick Henry.
Saquon.
Saquon, of course, the MVP favorite or one of the front runners at least. The running game is back. Ashton Genty's amazing season. And then we had Cam Scattaboo in the Big 12 championship. That was something else. What a player. What a prospect. What a game.
He's been doing that, bro. He's an absolute monster.
No, I know. And he was like less than 100%. And they were kind of watching his touches some in November, you know, but his production is still otherworldly.
Yep.
What I love is that he catches the ball.
Yes.
He's way more than just a runner.
37 receptions this season.
And as far as power runners and guys with contact balance,
Oh, yeah.
holy cow.
And just like the will to not be tackled.
It's incredible.
It's
incredible.
so fun to watch.
No, I mean the athleticism to just constantly take hits, stay on his feet, and keep churning. Like his lower half is so strong. And you've mentioned this before, but like he's a guy that does everything.
Yeah.
Such a complete player.
Yeah, no, he's been overlooked this entire season in this Big 12 conference, who is loaded with running backs, as you were describing. But the Big 12 is almost to another level.
That's
of what
the
you were
conference of
describing.
running backs. Yeah. Devin Neal, top guy on my board. Then you got Scat, of course. DJ Giddens, RJ Harvey, Taj Brooks and Texas Tech. Ollie Gordon, right. Yeah, it has been loaded. Micah Bernard's a guy you've brought up to me before. But yeah, tell me about Scat and how you see his pro projections.
I think he fits in pretty well in the NFL, really. He, like you said, he can do it all. I mean, he is like their Travis Hunter. Like literally, he was throwing the ball for them last year and stuff.
Yeah.
He catches the ball in the backfield. He's just a menace between the lines, so he blocks.
He's got special team tackles.
Yep, he runs. I mean, it's not breakaway speed, but he's got enough speed.
Yeah, I mean, I think speed, straight line speed, not a concern for me.
For sure.
It also isn't going to be like the first line on the scout report,
Right.
but it isn't a concern.
No.
It's not something I knock him for. I just think there's plenty of power, plenty of ability to get up to speed quickly and break away from guys. And the guys he's not breaking away from, they're going to have their hands full taking him down in the open field.
Yeah, you need help
regardless.
to bring him down.
Yeah.
61 receptions in the last 2 years at Arizona State. That'll do.
Over 100 career, I think, if you take Sacramento State
yeah.
into account. So yeah, it's I hate seeing the timeline being like the Chiefs are gonna take him. But I guess I get it. He's a power back that a la Pacheco that would fit nicely.
Yeah.
Where do you see him going?
Man, I'd love him in Denver.
Yeah.
I'd absolutely love him in Denver.
I mean, I think if Javonte leaves, you are kind of looking for a bell cow.
Mm-hmm.
You have Estime, more your power back. You have Jaleel, more of your speed back.
Right.
Which, man, I was putting together a list of all the kind of like Broncos potential needs. Speed back was the category I just had one name on for this class. So there aren't a ton of options. But there certainly are bell cows who could take over for Javonte Williams, who's in a contract year, might not be back next year, and you could arguably do better then.
For sure. This guy, I think, would absolutely go crazy in San Francisco. Who knows what's going on with C-Mac? So, and then Guerrero or whatever his name is, like he goes down. Like they need help.
It's crazy. I know Patrick Taylor is everyone's picking him up in their fantasy
for the playoffs.
Yeah. Nuts. No, you're right. Scatterboo would fit really nicely in those zone schemes for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And those schemes that are able to use running backs as more than, and we were talking off air, Savion Williams, who you brought up on the podcast last week.
How dope is he?
And I was watching some of his carries. So he's a big athletic speedster wide receiver from Texas Christian, TCU, but they were also giving him carries out the backfield, and he was putting up monster numbers. And I've brought up Rashard Smith, the converted Miami wide receiver who was the star running back for SMU.
I love him too.
We are kind of dialing in on these hybrid type mismatch weapons for Sean Payton to have in his offense. And add Scatterboo to that club.
Yeah. Tyler Warren, too. I mean, the whole conversation we had last week. And it's something.
Tyler Warren, the Taysom Hill mold.
Yeah, I texted you about this. I can't remember when we were talking about it, but just bring all these guys in, all these Swiss Army knives. Because you've seen what Sean Payton can do with guys like Alvin Kamara, Reggie Bush, Taysom Hill, of course.
Yeah, right.
He just loves versatility, and he knows how to get the best out of players like that. So just bring them all into Denver here. I mean, we need receivers. We need backs. We need a tight end. So let's just do the damn thing.
No doubt. And he is a 3-down back who can impact, can impact all facets of the game.
Mm-hmm.
When Scat is lined up in the backfield, you aren't giving the tell to the defensive play caller that, this is going to be a run.
Right.
This is going to be a pass. No, you don't know what you're going to get with Scatterboo. Incredible performance. I think solidly in the third round conversation probably now. And
I think so.
With the possibility of he runs, in the low 4.5s or better of going even higher. He reminds me a lot of pre-cancer Pitt, James Conner.
Mm-hmm.
James Conner was about 15 pounds heavier, but he's got that same physicality, that same just elite compete, downhill running style that Conner had. And Conner's obviously had a great career. I think he could be a really useful element of an NFL backfield similar to James Conner.
I like that. A comp, maybe so a little bit of. Not quite as much, but just a Sean Payton comp, Pierre Thomas-ish. Just can kind of be a contributor in the passing and run game.
And it's one of those lower center of gravity bodies.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. He's like all his muscles, like he's 5'11", 215. He carries it like a tank.
Yep.
Yeah. Pierre Thomas isn't a bad one. Anyone else stood out to you in this Big 12 championship game that you want to get into?
I'm really impressed. He didn't do much. 12 of 17 for 219 yards and 3 touchdowns. But Sam Levitt, I mean, he's not draft eligible, but this guy has completely surprised me this year. Coming in from Michigan State, they brought in a handful of quarterbacks. Jeff Sims, they had Bourget still on the roster, and it just seemed like that's, I think, one of the reasons why that team was picked to finish last in the conference.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't seem like they had an answer at quarterback.
Yeah.
But Sam Levitt's really elevated his game.
Is he eligible next year or 2
I think
years
he's a
from
redshirt freshman.
I think you're right. So, and outside of Arch Manning, who, of course, very unproven commodity, we are kind of in search for names for next year, 2026's draft. He's one to keep
And
a
he
very close eye on.
and he did that without his top weapon in Jordan Tyson, who I think is a
No
legit
doubt.
draft prospect. We unfortunately didn't get to see him.
1,000%. And another kind of hybrid guy because of his impact in the return game,
Yep.
who you definitely want to keep an extra eye on if you're thinking of Sean Payton targets.
I was impressed by ASU's wide receiving core, though. I mean, Jaden Higgins went off for Iowa State, 7 for 115. But Stovall and Guillory, those guys, I think it hurts to lose Tyson, but I think you have enough juice to make plays if you're ASU.
Yeah, no doubt. And boy, that defense has performed really well.
Yeah.
And Iowa State, Higgins did his thing, but yeah, pretty underwhelming performance.
Yeah, Rocco was not great.
Yeah, they kind of turned into a pumpkin and just couldn't keep up with the big play, the big plays that Dillingham and his Sun Devils were generating.
They averaged 4 yards per carry as a team, but it was 32 carries, 127 yards.
Yeah.
Not a real big performance.
No, not at all. We're going to get into all the other conference championships after our Cam Scattaboo chat on the other side of this break, where I want to remind you, whether you are enjoying a college football Saturday or, going through the stresses of life, maybe you're like me, you've got this damn tree in our front yard that it's just not letting go of the leaves. It won't get let go of the leaves. It won't ever do it, So I need to choose chill and just enjoy a Coors Light. Just enjoy a Coors Light. Enjoy that I have a front yard. Sip a nice cold one. There's nothing like a cold, refreshing, like the Rockies, Coors Light. Just a clean, beautiful lager for me. Easy to digest. Goes down smooth. And just a great way to enjoy whatever life may bring at you,
Maybe some college football playoffs.
Yeah. The excitement of your 6-year-old meeting Santa, or the stresses of Christmas shopping.
Or when you give in and you give her that packet of Gushers and you're just upset with yourself and you got to chill.
That's right. I do want to specify single Gusher.
Single.
So yeah,
Okay.
We negotiated it down. Make the most of the times you choose to chill and choose Coors Light. Get Coors Light delivered straight to your door with Instacart by going to CoorsLight.com/DNVR. Celebrate responsibly. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. And of course, our friends at Bet365, the exclusive betting partner of DNVR, the only place you can use our code DNVR365, the only place you can find our custom boosted bets. Right now they have a promo on Avs to win the cup. Everyone is hyped post adding the new goalie. I'm really hyped. I'm all in on Blackwood. It's what we may use as a guiding principle when we draft college football playoff contenders here coming up on the show. And it's I just wish we could bet on the Heisman in Colorado. Everything else, though, they have you set. And out of state, you could. It's not Bet365. It's Colorado. We'll talk about it in a sec.
Let you finish this read.
I don't want to. Of course, use our code. Get in on our offer. DNVR365. Deposit $10. Place a $5 bet. Get $150 in bonus bets. Must be 21 plus. Physically located in Colorado. Please gamble responsibly. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem wants help, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER.
So, if the Ohio State legislature can make a law that planting a flag at midfield is a felony, why can't Colorado lawmakers allow us to bet on the Heisman? What are we doing?
Killer, man. Killer. Also, the felony stuff. Oof.
Is that not the softest thing you've ever seen?
It's honestly crazy. Okay. Big Ten or SEC? Where to next?
Let's do SEC.
There were lots and lots and lots and lots of talking points here. Where do you want to start, Jake?
Got to start with the quarterbacks.
Quarterbacks, yeah.
It's crazy that these two guys who were seen as top 5 locks, first round mocks, I guess being generous, 5 months ago, have pretty much fallen off a cliff.
Yeah, it's not great.
Is Carson Beck draftable?
Yeah. Yes. you'd have to be ballsy to take him in the first round.
There's no way anyone does that, right?
Well, we've seen far crazier in the NFL draft.
Carson Beck in the first round, bro?
I know. I mean, it's just not. I think, the first 10 games at Georgia, it was easy to buy in because you assumed all these other improvements. Now, it's been a really tough setting. The bigger thing with Beck is, will we see him again this season?
That's another good question.
Will he have an opportunity of a primetime matchup? First half against Alabama's a disaster. These Texas games haven't been great.
Mm-hmm.
And then Ewers, who I still believe in, and I think his game has tidied up and come along nicely where he is more accurate, more deke and dunk, more able to operate out the pocket without just relying on the long bomb. Boy, neither super exciting.
I wanted to see Quinn Ewers grow in the consistency department this season, and that has just not happened.
Yeah, he's rounded out his game, but it isn't. You're right. There's not a ton of consistency. I mean, there wasn't a ton to get excited about with the Texas or Georgia offense in this game, period.
Yeah.
Isaiah Bond, another meh performance. I was far more excited about the flashes I had seen at Alabama as a sophomore than I am now as a junior.
Yes.
I was high on him coming into the year, high on him for the Broncos, top first couple months. I'm kind of out right now. Cam Williams, Calvin Banks, the left tackle for Texas, he's out.
He just declared for the draft, by the way.
He did, which is great. Cam Williams, the right tackle, he's playing in the first half. I'm thinking like, okay, man, the upside is just obvious.
Mm-hmm.
And then the second half, it's penalty after penalty. It's getting beat in pass pro. It's just like, you're really buying into that upside to stomach some of the immediate deficiencies you're really going to have to clean up with one of the guys who on raw upside might be a 2 or 3 best tackle prospects in the draft.
Mm-hmm.
I really thought Dylan Everett, the cornerback, number 6.
That was an unbelievable play.
Unbelievable game, unbelievable performance, unbelievable play. That's 2 games now against Texas. He has just gone off. Long arms, super competitive, sticky in coverage. You can see the ball skills.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, there's that top tier of corners, Will Johnson and Travis Hunter. There's kind of the next tier, Benjamin Morrison and Siobhan Ravel.
Yep.
Cool.
ECU.
That's awesome that's how you pronounce it. And I didn't butcher that. And then, it's up for grabs. And I think Everett is one of my favorites in that tier 3 we just kind of talked about.
Yeah, no, I like him. He had a good year last year, too. Kind of doing it all. I mean, he's got a sack this year. He's got 3 interceptions, a few tackles for a loss. And he's getting some production on the ball, 2 forced fumbles as well. I mean, he just seems like a guy who finds the football, which is exactly what you want.
Yeah, no doubt. Jahadi Barron, the corner, has a massive interception.
Yep.
Sark thought that was a pick 6 for a second. And then the fake punt, he's the only reason that's not like a house call.
Mm-hmm.
So, we mentioned him a little last week. He's getting a lot of hype. And another candidate to be the top corner in that tier 3.
Yeah.
I thought he had a nice game. I wanted to shout out Dan Jackson. Listen to that. So he's the safety for Georgia playing opposite Malachi Starks.
Uh-huh.
5-year player at Georgia. Oh. This is his first year as a starter. Never transferred, never wavered, and he's had a really nice season. I noticed him when AJ Hayfleet, the man, the myth, the legend from our Avs beat, was texting me during that Clemson game like, damn, number 17's all over the place. He had a great game. He's like a day 3 versatile DB.
Mm-hmm.
So keep an eye on him if you're a Broncos fan. And then ETN, man.
Dog.
In a loaded class.
Yeah.
He just has another terrific game. He has not had a great season because he's been out injured a lot.
Yep.
It hasn't been a great year for Georgia's offensive line. They were like circling left tackles in and out during that game.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't have his starting quarterback, but ETN was a star.
He's the reason they won that game.
No doubt.
Yeah, obviously a bit of a down year just compared to his last 2 years, where he wasn't even the lead back the last 2 years. He still worked his way up to 360 carries in college football. It's a pretty decent workload on all that. He's averaged 5.7 yards per carry in his career.
And he finds the end zone nicely.
Yeah, 24 total touchdowns.
He feels more physical, a little bit more low to the ground than his brother. But
Definitely.
Was a little maybe more explosive. I liked him a little more in the receiving game, you know?
Yep.
But yeah, he really impressed me. Of course, we've got some comments in the Toyota chat. People hyped about Garrett Bowles being re-signed. I think that's a great move for the Broncos. And it allows us to not talk about offensive tackles, though I always will give you updates. And it allows us to talk about the targets we maybe all would be more excited to see, like the running backs. We've already talked about a couple stars in Scadaboo and ETN, like the tight ends. And let's move to the Big Ten Championship with Tyler Warren.
Yeah.
What would you make of his performance? Lots of targets early. He's kind of cooking that Oregon defense early.
Yeah.
Bracketed him late, didn't get many touches. But then there were a couple throws in his area code, which I think some are kind of knocking him on.
Yeah.
Especially Broncos fans who maybe hadn't watched Penn State much and are tuning in for the first time. And they're like, oh, after the first couple touches. And then they're a bit like, eh.
Yeah, I mean, he's not like a Colston Loveland where he can be like Spider-Man and just reach out and grab anything in his area code. But you kind of laid it out right there. He was the focal point of the offense. He got it going, and then Oregon shut it down. I mean, he's a tight end. Like, he's not going to be like a game-breaking guy. I mean, it's very rare to do that at the position. I think Brock Bowers might have done it every now and then, but we see how great he is, and that's, I mean, you could scheme around a tight end, I think, way easier than you could a game-changing wide receiver.
For sure. I think if he makes those plays, forget it. He's never even around for the Broncos at 21.
Oh, yeah.
I think the
that still might be the case.
Drop was it's like at his fingertips. You maybe like to see him stretch out, but whatever. It happens, man. It's not always hard to just catch everything. The other two were pretty hard catches. And again, he makes those. It's like, geez, this guy's going top 12. You know, like he's going Bowers high.
Yep.
So, yeah, I'd take it easy on Tyler Warren, but wow, what a performance from Oregon. Kind of bullying that Penn State defense, going after Abdul Carter, running at him.
Yep.
Tez Johnson with a monster performance. Let's talk Tez real quick because he almost broke the record for receiving yards in a Big Ten championship.
He had 11 for 181 and 1 touchdown. I mean,
Bo Nix's former favorite target at Oregon.
So, I mean, he's 5'10", 165.
Yeah.
That's what he's listed at.
Yeah.
But he's explosive.
Slot only.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't. How high would you take him?
Anything before the third is crazy.
I agree.
Especially in a loaded wide receiver class where you have a slot wide end like Xavier Restrepo, who people are high on, or like LeJontay Western, who I'm high on, and I think might be just tremendous value in day 3. Anything higher than the third is crazy. But once the third comes around, I think early fourth, where you saw Troy Franklin go, is not that insane.
So do you do that then? Do you just do what you did last year? Just get a guy because he's Bo's guy?
And he fits your need of you just need more receiving threats over the middle, up the seam. So a Loveland and a Tez Johnson, a Warren and a Restrepo, a Fannin and a Wester, all in on all of that. Give me 2 of those guys.
Yeah. I mean, they need wide receivers desperately, I think.
Yeah. Though we've obviously seen them figure some stuff out.
They have. And there's been guys who have been growing. I mean, Franklin's growing throughout the season. Mims, obviously, he's grown a ton.
Vele,
definitely. Court is looking as good as he's looked since before the injury.
1,000%. Court's looking amazing.
Yeah.
Court's kind of a must start right now in fantasy. Is that good?
But we need to get better there.
Yeah. And this is a great wide receiver group to load up. And getting Bo someone he has chemistry with, I think could be really intriguing. I will say that size might be a non-starter for Coach Payton.
Yeah.
We just talked about those hybrid guys. Well, part of what makes you a hybrid guy is your size kind of fits multiple positions, multiple needs. He's very pigeonholed into just slot madness.
Yeah, I mean, that's why we keep going back to guys like Savion Williams. And why that would be such a great fit. But again, they need speed. I wouldn't be opposed to it. I think he has better hands than Troy Franklin did at this point last year, or has shown better hands.
Yeah, no, agreed for sure.
So, yeah.
He's a great, great player. We're going to talk, I want to just talk trenches for a sec in the Big 12 championship. On the other side of this break, and all sorts of other stuff to get into. But first, gotta tell you about Toyota, our studio sponsor, our true homies. And there's nothing more Colorado or better to ride in on a beautiful sunny day like this, or on a snowy day like we had earlier in the week. If you're getting lost up in the mountains, or just on a family road trip and everyone's needs their space and needs to be comfortable and happy, Toyota's got you covered with everything. Trucks have always been part of their DNA. Off-roading or being prepared for the kind of weather we get out here with all-wheel drive, four-wheel drive. That is what they do, man. 17 models like that, including their Epic 4Runner. They also offer a ton of zero-emission or low-emission vehicles, combined with all the hybrid vehicles. There are 16 of those. And Toyota SUVs, like that's just the name of the game.
Mm-hmm.
Visit your Front Range Toyota stores at a location near you. AutoNation Toyota Arapahoe and Centennial, Corwin Toyota in Boulder, Groove Toyota in Littleton, Mountain States Toyota in Denver, and Stevenson Toyota East in Aurora, Stevenson Toyota West in Lakewood. Toyota, official automotive partner of the NFL and the official vehicle of DNVR.
Yeah.
Speaking of DNVR, do not forget about our DNVR events. Right now, it's Broncos tailgate season, some epic ones. We've been tailgating for a long while.
Mm-hmm.
I remember back in the day being at the first one at like 5 a.m. with Brandon, Sons of Mile High. Great times, popping on the bus, doing some unsavory business. Fireball shots in the parking lot.
Hell yeah.
Oh my God. And it's evolved into such a great time at the Sports Fan lot. Todd and the guys doing a live show. The whole gang there. I was there for Monday night. It was amazing. Like 20 DNVR staffers were there. You were there. I was there. No Sean Moreno, Todd Davis, Jarrell Casey. Our guy Riley Sorbo was there. I mean, you name it. Producer Yaya. Hank made an appearance with his parents. Peggy and Dean, true legends of the game. I mean, you name it. No better time to come to the DNVR bar. Enjoy all our drink specials, our awesome watch parties, sound on for all our favorite teams. So do it. Check out the link in the description. Check out the QR code there, or simply go to thednvr.com/events for all the latest on that end. Okay. Abdul Carter a little suppressed in the Big Ten championship game. Where's he rank for you? Is he like a set and forget top 5 guy? Because he kind of has that reputation, but it's more like on pure upside.
Yeah.
So I guess he gets in the backfield a lot.
He does. I mean, dude, he's got 20 TFLs this season.
I know. And the fact that he looks identical to Micah Parsons, I mean, identical with the same number,
Yeah.
it makes it really hard to be like, oh no, he's overrated. 12th prospect.
This guy's stacked up a hell of a career.
Yeah, he has.
In his career, 37 TFLs, 21 sacks, 1 interception, 12 passes defensed, and 5 forced fumbles. Sounds like an impact player to me.
Certainly, I think so. I thought John Connerly Jr., the left tackle for Oregon, I have praised a ton on this podcast, especially lately. Held his own, did a very good job. But still, you could just see Carter's athleticism coming around the edge.
Mm-hmm.
Dylan Gabriel isn't getting rid of the rock as quickly as he does.
Yeah.
Would have been trouble for anyone, you
Sure.
know. And now Dylan Gabriel.
Mm-hmm.
First off,
I don't know.
we've been here before.
Yes.
Where Kyler benefits from Baker Mayfield, Hurts benefits from
Tua.
Kyler.
I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Bo Nix's breakout season and the fact that Oregon's undefeated and Dylan Gabriel has had the kind of seasons he's had at Oklahoma and Oregon the last 2 years, his stock is way up.
definitely.
I also kind of like the guy. He
Then you
gets it
tell
out
me.
quick. He moves really well. He's mastered, moving around, getting to the line, getting it out. Throws it well on the run. Like,
And-
this is the NFL game.
And he doesn't make very many mistakes, too.
Yeah.
He's played 6 years of college football. He's played in 63 career games. You want to talk about the Bill Parcells rule?
Parcells rules. Like Bo, he's going to be check.
Yeah, this guy's gonna crush it.
Check.
In his career, 153 touchdowns to 32 interceptions. It's fantastic.
It's a 3-to-1 ratio.
You got to have the ceiling debate at some time with him, I think, though.
1,000%, man. 1,000%.
So, and it sounds kind of dumb because we did this last year with Bo, but
No, you do.
I think you have to consider it again.
You do. And yeah, I mean, what team is he a good fit on? It's a wacky quarterback class, my brother.
It is strange, huh? How many do you think go in the first round now?
I think I'd set it at 3.5, and I'd probably take the over.
Really? Still?
Yeah.
Drew Allar kind of popped a bit at times, too.
Yeah, Drew Allar as well. I mean, the size pops. But, I mean, if Drew Allar with his tools played the way Dylan Gabriel did,
Yeah. Right.
there'd be the Shador debate right now.
Yeah, definitely.
Instead, it's all upside. Like, Gabriel's just a surgeon out there.
Mm-hmm.
And he has some Bo, he has some Baker to his game. He has some less Russ. I think it's more Drew Brees, honestly.
For Allar?
No, for
Gabriel?
Gabriel. The other thing is Oregon's kind of a real wagon. They haven't been treated that way, but like I'm watching that team and I'm thinking like, man, Dan Lanning's got them at like Stenson Bennett, Jake Fromm, Georgia levels already.
I mean, dude,
like,
they've got
my
weapons. They got
God.
a premier offensive line. They got a difference maker on the trenches, on defense.
A ton of those kids on defense are sophomores.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he added both those defensive tackles. I mean, Harmon's the guy I've been talking up all year,
Yep.
but the nose tackle, Carroll, is... I'd love him on the Broncos.
Yeah, for sure. Both of them.
Yeah. Yeah, they have Jabbar Muhammad on one of the corners who transferred from Washington. They
Right.
are stacked.
Yep. Nico Reed had a pick, former Buff.
No, I know. And I mean, right, Nico Reed played great. The wide receiving core, we're talking up Tess Johnson, but they have endless options.
Yeah. Evan Stewart.
I know, he's barely right. Right. So no, I'm telling you, I think the Dylan Gabriel debate's gonna be heating up and getting fun. I think Milroe goes first round
Okay.
on just upside.
I agree.
Like that athleticism's just like, I saw it with Anthony Richardson.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And I mean, we've seen it with Josh Allen, Lamar. Like his best of his best is.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And then Cam feels like safe because he's got the size and plenty of production. I mean, he must be a Parcells rule guy too.
He's got to be damn close.
You'd think. Shador obviously is going high.
He's probably a Parcells
And
rules
then,
all the way,
I
too.
mean, someone rolling the dice on an Allar, a Ewers, a Carson Beck, or a Dylan Gabriel. Yeah, you're going to get to 4 easy,
Yep.
I think.
All right, you've convinced me. I was stuck at 3, but I think that there's just so much desperation when it comes to this position.
Totally, man. And the cost control of the rookie contracts makes it, so, ACC, Brashard Smith had another good game.
Dude, SMU impressed the hell out of me in that game.
They're a good team, man.
They are a good team. And I might take them higher than you would think in this draft coming up.
Good, I like it.
I love their weapons. I love Roderick Daniels, the wide receiver. I love
Their
Brashard
quarterback's
Smith.
awesome.
Jennings balled out, kind of, bro.
Yeah. No, he's good. He's good. If they didn't start so terribly, I mean, I think,
Yeah.
Impressive
Fight from them, though.
No kidding.
I mean, how many times have you seen that? Clemson gets up 2 scores, and then it's the boa constrictor, right?
Right.
They dug in there. I mean, the score's 21-7 at the end of the first quarter.
100%. I tell you, man, Klubnik impressed me.
He balled out too, man.
The Clemson's got a good tight end, Jake Brinkstool, and a good right tackle, and Blake Miller, who'd be a nice developmental offensive tackle, who maybe the Broncos don't need anymore now that Bowles is signed on long term, and
Yeah.
you've got guys like Palcho and stuff to develop and work on. But yeah, all those guys stood out. Let's get to it, man.
Let's do it.
Let's do this draft. We are drafting college football playoff teams. You know what it is. This bracket's wacky, man.
I don't think anyone could have expected a bracket to look like this in a 12-team playoff. Indiana? SMU?
I know.
ASU?
It's really crazy.
It's madness.
College football was
I love
amazing this year. It continues to be amazing. It's your game, so I will give you the first pick. Snake draft?
Do you think that's fair?
I kind of do.
Okay. With the first pick, I got to go Oregon. You got to.
It's
You
the
have
best
to.
team. I just compared them to some really good Georgia teams. Path is very hard, though.
It is,
Path is very hard.
but you fact just they're undefeated, one, of course.
Facts.
But we just talked it through not too long ago about how deep this team is, how complete this team is. I don't think it's like a shoe-in. I think last I saw, Georgia and Texas were actually still the odds-on favorites to win the national title. But Oregon's just the deepest team. I would like them in a rematch against Ohio State, quite frankly, if that's how it ended up going.
Hard to beat a team twice.
So it's got to be Oregon.
Yeah, they are the best team. They are. And they are in such a unique and kind of tough position, if you ask me, where they either have like the best team ever in some ways, you know, like undefeated. You won the 12-team playoff. You won the Big Ten Super Conference as the only undefeated team. So it's like you were all hype, and once again, you didn't bring home the natty. Like, there is no middle for Oregon, man.
That is true.
It's all in, and Oregon on Bet365 is the favorite, plus 350.
Okay.
Yeah.
It must have changed after the soon after the SEC title because of the Beck injury. But
it's hard to beat teams twice, and Ohio State and Tennessee, outside of maybe Georgia and Texas, are two of the only teams that could hold their own in the trenches against Oregon.
yes, yeah,
And you know that game was in Eugene against the Buckeyes, and they barely won. This would be at the Rose Bowl, where the Buckeyes have a little more experience. And Tennessee's a tough one because that defense, they are so good, and you don't know what you'll get with Nico. I mean, you know, so it's just... And then you could get, you know, Texas after that in the semis.
It's a tough path.
Clemson or Arizona State. I like your chances a lot more, though.
Of course,
Arizona State. You're going against your former OC.
Yeah. How much did he learn from good old Dan?
Yeah. Yeah, it's the guy that knows you.
Who's your pick?
So I think that's the right pick. I do, Jake.
I thought about this a lot the last 3 days, by the way.
Oh, I hate it. But I kind of think it's smart to take someone from the other side of the bracket.
Okay.
I'm getting the feeling that a lot of the public thinks Penn State's the smart play on the other side of the bracket. Taking Georgia. Taking Georgia, man.
Even with the quarterback issues.
I mean, to some extent, I like what I saw. They're running it first, getting it out quicker, getting it into their playmakers' hands more.
And you were playing Texas.
And the O-line now, Georgia, they've struggled with their tackles, but that middle three is as kick-ass, badass as anyone in the country.
Tip of the spear.
And those guys put it on, man.
Yeah.
Wilson, the center, and Tate Rutledge, 69.
Yep.
Woo-hoo-hoo.
Monsters.
Just devastating. I mean, he was like escorting ETN to the end zone on some of those.
You got another pick.
They've got that, in the trenches. Beck could still play, and I think that's enough to handle Indiana, Notre Dame. Also, the bye is really huge.
Yeah.
The bye is really huge.
Still 3 weeks until they have to play, basically.
Exactly. Would you say Kirby Smart's best coaching job yet? Schedule ended up being quite tough.
The schedule was brutal.
And
the quarterback
team's
play
not
was a
great.
letdown.
Yeah.
You don't really have very many weapons on the outside that impress me.
They miss Monken, man.
Yeah.
That's the other thing
too.
about Dan Lanning in Oregon. Like, we've talked about how it's devastated Clemson losing their, coordinators.
Right.
It's showing up for Georgia losing their coordinator and Todd Monken. Lost Kenny Dillingham, just got better.
Yeah.
Yeah. Saban-esque.
It is, really.
Yeah.
But he's got to win.
He's got to win.
You have another pick.
Gonna take Texas.
I mean, that's the smart thing to do, I think. What you
Most
just did.
talented team.
Yes. I think you've got to do it that way. I mean, all year, I don't think there's been clear separation, but I do think that Georgia, Texas, Oregon have been the three strongest teams. Just
More so Oregon, Texas.
yes, just on not even like a power ranking type of scale. I
No,
guess.
it's more like who's at their tippy top the very best.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. No, that's what Texas has. I assume Kelvin Banks will be back by then. They've overcome the injuries at running back, and the running game's been good. That defense is really good. Alfred Collins, the defensive tackle, super long arms. He's got so many pass deflections. Watch him. Great rotation of edge guys. And, yes, they do have Oregon on their side of the bracket, but not until the national semi. I really like the matchup against Clemson, and I like the neutral field Peach Bowl matchup against Arizona State.
Mm-hmm. I think you did it right, and I'm going to kind of follow suit. I'm going to go to the other side of the bracket and take Penn State. What I saw in the Big Ten title game gave me some confidence that they can make a run.
It's a great path, and they did at least not just wilt like a flower in that game.
Yes, and some would say this is potentially the easiest path for a team.
I think it is by far.
Because, again, all due respect to SMU, love that football team. But you're definitely, we'll see where they go in this draft, but you don't want to face, you'll take them before you take a Texas, Georgia, Oregon, the three teams that already went, obviously, but even Ohio State, Tennessee, Clemson, I think you might. Boise State, that's a matchup I want to see. Penn State's front against Ashton Genty.
Yes,
Who
sir.
wins that matchup?
Those linebackers, yep.
And then can you force, what's the quarterback's name? Madsen? Can you force him to beat you?
100%.
It's obviously the game plan, and then
that's that whole bracket. That's the can you force the quarterback to beat us bracket.
Yeah.
Because if Georgia has their backup, Notre Dame, that's the knock, is like force Riley Leonard to make some plays. And Penn State, Boise State, that's the book on all of them.
All right, my next pick.
Yes.
Sheesh. I'm going to take Clemson.
Whoa.
I'm going to take Clemson. I think
I'm shook.
If Clemson can get through Texas, I think they can beat ASU. And then I like them against Ohio State. They can definitely beat Oregon would be a tough game. I think they could beat both of Tennessee and Ohio State, though.
Wow.
We talked about
I'm shocked.
The progression of Klubnik.
No, Klubnik's good. They're solid on both sides of the trenches.
I just trust the trenches more there than I would almost any other team. And Ohio State, that they have a Will Howard problem. I'm interested to see if you go here with them.
Yeah, they do have a Will Howard problem.
That was a championship game performance from Clemson, though. I mean, you kind of get up to a lead, you hold on, and then, man, if there's any proof that you got to kick the ball through the back of the end zone, it's the end of the ACC title game, because Clemson gets the ball after that big return on like the 40, one completion, and then the kicker hits a nuke to win the game.
Yeah, I know. And these college kickers. I tell you, I think Tennessee's my next pick because they're the most talented team left. And because, as I talked about with Nico, I think their ceiling is also really high. Also love Dalen Sampson. What a running back he is. Very tough path, however.
Yes.
And I will be taking them plus 7.5 against the Buckeyes. And then, give me Indiana.
Damn.
I think Indiana has been rolling teams like Notre Dame all year. I think they're perfectly set for that. Georgia without a quarterback could be a really nice matchup. And then, whoever comes out of Georgia, Indiana, or Georgia, Notre Dame, they'll probably be favorites in that national semi.
Yep, definitely.
So, yeah, I like Indiana's path and how consistent they've been, how they've taken care of business, and I think they can make some noise in the playoffs.
I'm going to counter your Indiana pick with Notre Dame then.
Yep.
Defensively, one of the best teams in the country, first off, but
big time
in the playoff, just all around. You got pass rush, you got guys that can cover, you got linebackers that can run, and they just keep kicking the hell out of teams.
Similar to Indiana.
Yes. They had the one stumble against Northern Illinois, probably the worst loss of the season by any team.
But they've handled things well.
They have, and they've just kicked ass along the way. Them against potentially Georgia with a backup quarterback.
Oh, it's a great matchup for them.
Yes.
And then, Boise State, Penn State, great matchup for them again.
Yep.
And then, if by some miracle Ohio State came through, or even at that point, it's like a natty against Oregon, Texas, whatever. It's one game, like
definitely.
All it takes is a bad Dylan Gabriel performance and you're in. Okay, you got one more. Your remaining picks are SMU, Boise State, Arizona State, and the Ohio State Buckeyes.
Taking SMU. I love their weapons. I love that they just stood up to Clemson like they did. And to me, that was enough to think that this team could at least compete and make a bit of a run in the CFP.
SMU over Boise State?
Yes. They're more explosive.
Yeah. More duality in their offense, for sure.
Yeah.
More battle tested as well.
Like the quarterback more. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That leaves me with 3 choices, right? Because it's a snake draft.
Yep.
You will have one choice at the end. It would be genius of me to leave you with Ohio State. But no, I think that is my next pick. I honestly think they've stayed around too long. I'm kind of hedging my bets. I have Tennessee and Ohio State. Either could beat your first overall pick and get me in Flynn. And overall, you said most of the year we thought of Texas, Oregon, Georgia as the top teams. For a lot of the year, or Ohio State was part of that.
Yes.
And they have everything the trench domination, what have you. The injuries on the O-line have really gotten them, and they do have a Will Howard problem.
Do you think they're broken now, though?
They could be.
After what happened in that Michigan game?
They could be. They could also just be playing with house money, man.
They could be. There could be another side of that, too, where it's almost like you just go in so nervous. Ryan Day especially. He's potentially coaching for his job, man.
Yeah, but that sometimes is more freeing.
It can be.
Yeah. They were right there with Oregon. They're 7.5 point favorites to over Tennessee at home, and it's one thing to be in Indiana and travel to South Bend, Indiana for the Notre Dame game. It's another one to come from Tennessee and travel up to
That's fair.
Shoe. And so anyways, hedging my bet. And then with Boise State and Arizona State as my only remainings, I think I'm going to simply take Boise State just because I believe in Texas, who's the favorite to be Arizona State's first opponent, more than I believe in Penn State, who's favored to be Boise State's first opponent.
That's fair.
Just comes down to that. I think Penn State's defense will be a hell of a matchup for the Broncos. But they're a pretty sound team, man. And Penn State kind of struggles against sound teams.
Sure.
And it's at a neutral bowl. Anything's possible. Could be Ashton Genty's last college game.
Yeah. So then I get ASU. My question is, how much higher would ASU have gone in this if they had a healthy Jordan Tyson?
I mean,
you definitely pick them over Boise, I think.
I mean, look, on talent, I would take him over Boise right now.
Yes.
It's more the bracket.
Of course.
And I mean, yeah, there's a few teams you picked who I probably would rather take a roll of the dice on ASU than I would SMU. I might rather take a roll of the dice on ASU over Penn State.
Damn.
I'm
a believer, but I think you just outbelieved me when it came to ASU.
I mean, shoot, they've been hot for like 3 months.
And that's a team
They've
I think
really
playing
figured
with
something out. Yeah, and they're playing with house money. They've got the nobody believes in us card, which is always huge. And it's, yeah, man, I mean, I think the name brand stuff, we get too caught up in it, and then it's like, anyone can beat anyone. It's college football, guys.
I mean, the question with them, though, is can their offensive line, hold up against any of these teams, honestly? Like, Texas got dudes. Clemson's got dudes.
Tennessee's got maybe more dudes than anyone.
Yeah.
No, I that's the thing. Like, I think it's the bracket that scares me. I really like the team. The bracket scares me, though, because, Texas especially is one of those teams where it's like, oof. And Clemson, to a lesser extent. Tennessee, Ohio State, Oregon, like, tough.
Yeah.
But, if you put them on Boise State side, Penn State, that'd be a tough D-line matchup in Indiana, Notre Dame, Georgia. Yeah, I mean, that's where they struggle. In the trenches, they are like the 12th team on the bracket.
Pretty much, I think. I mean, SMU's actually impressed me in the trenches. Not that ASU hasn't, but SMU's like been eye-opening to me with how they played in the trenches this year.
Well, I mean, I think without the most reliable quarterbacks in the field, that's where we're overlooking Arizona State, though.
That is true.
Like, rank the quarterbacks real quick. If we had just done the quarterbacks, and don't do pro prospects, just do level of trust.
It'd be Gabriel 1, right?
Gabriel 1. Tracy? Rorick?
I was going to say Curtis Rourke.
Yeah. And then, Levitt might be pretty soon.
I think
you're at least considering Levitt and ASU's quarterback consideration in front of Texas, which is saying a lot.
So you take Levitt over Georgia, I think. I think you take Levitt over Will Howard. I think you take Levitt over Ewers right now. Do you take him over Klubnik? Yeah.
Body of work, I do.
Do you take him over Riley Leonard?
Yeah. Body of work, I do.
So then he's a top half quarterback in the CFP.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But the trenches,
yes,
you're maybe the 12th, and that hurts a lot. That was really fun, Jake. We got to monitor these the rest of the way.
I have them written down.
Okay, and then...
How do we do this? Is it just like win percentage?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's best overall record.
Okay.
of
Okay.
our bracket, and then you maybe get like a 2 points on national semi, 3 points on natty.
I'm writing this down.
Okay, do that. I love that. I love that. I love that. Thank you so much for tuning in. We love doing these shows. Thank you to Big Riley Sorbo on the ones and twos. My guy, the Schwan man,
Yes,
for
sir.
joining us, and thank to you for tuning in. We'll be back next time. Bye.
We all silly like the mayor.